We don't know the beginnings of rap because as long as our music has been recording, people have been rapping.
The disco DJs separated themselves from us. We were the next generation coming up with this thing, and they were like, what's this little hippity hop thing?
The first time I heard somebody spit a 16 over a breakbeat was probably Melly Mel.
The Melly Mel sound that you hear today, I got that sound from Hollywood.
I was doing this same form of entertainment long before it had a name.
A lot of the gangs were fading out by the time hip-hop came in. A lot of those gangs turned into crews.
As far as influencing hip-hop, I saw no Puerto Rican or Jamaican influences whatsoever.
I started breakdancing in the 70s.
When rap and hip hop was all black, it was negative. Now that it became a big phenomenon and corporately acceptable, now there's this need to take foundational black Americans out of the creation of it and give it away to other people. And it's important for us to set the record straight.
Enjoy Eternal.
Hi, thanks for letting me up to speak. I'm actually super shocked because I just sent my request in really randomly.
Okay.
But yeah, thanks anyways. So I guess I'll stay on topic. I want to ask a question about P. Diddy or Puffy or Diddy or whatever we're gonna call him.
Yeah.
So with him and also with Epstein, do you think that the reason that we're not allowed to like hear who the other like people involved are, like the people who are actually like at these parties, the people who are at like on the island, do you think the reason why we can't hear them is because like it's really actually important if the government was influencing these people? It's really important for them to be able to maintain their power over these influential people.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, you know what? They're very vague about this, and they keep hinting at how important the people are who was at these parties and who they might have on tape. They keep throwing these vague ass hints. Oh, wait till the list comes out. Oh, we've seen screenshots of the tapes of Puffy's parties, and there's some high profile people. It's all vague. And okay, if there's all these high profile people start naming them, it seems like the people are being actually protected. And that was probably the reason why they went confiscated all the tapes so that they can protect the people because Diddy was probably allegedly, this is my conjecture, using that to kind of come up saying, hey, look, I got this videotape of you doing whoop-de whoop-de whoop. So let me get $100 million real quick for my record label. That type of thing might have been going on. So I don't know. It's all over the place. I just hate the vagaries of it. But it's not about no sex trafficking. It's not about that. It's something bigger. The sex trafficking thing, that's something to destroy Diddy's credibility. They know that just keep saying that over and over and over again. Nobody's going to come to defend him. That's why anytime you ask about the laws and question the laws, the shaming tactics come in. Oh, wait, are y'all defending Diddy? Sound like you defending Diddy. Like, no, I'm going to ask questions. I'm not.
well, I believe the sex trafficking thing just because the way that I saw him beat the crap out of Cassie in that like hotel video. He just seems like the type of man. And I mean, in interviews that they've done with him, he just answers questions so awkwardly. And it's just like, this is just a person who's just like putting on a show and like covering up who they really are because like his
Let's,
personality just like is so obviously fabricated. Like,
oh, slow down, slow down. Okay, sex trafficking. How? Okay, let's get into that. Sex trafficking. How? How was he sex trafficking people?
so I think that I've only read maybe one article about it or maybe seen like I've only seen it. I've only like done a very shallow amount of research, but apparently he was throwing these parties, but then he was having these girls come to these parties, like, and he was paying them. But then
Right.
the problem was that, sorry, excuse me. The problem was that he was taking them like to other states and like he was like orchestrating their transport.
Okay.
And I guess there's some legality like involved with transporting women across states to like perform like stripper work or like dance work or something. and that is like considered sex trafficking, if I remember correctly. But you can totally look that up on your own and correct me on it. I'm willing to be wrong.
Okay, but the thing is, it's sex trafficking when the defendant is black, because that's something called the Mann Act. That was the law that was created in the early 1900s by a white supremacist prosecutor who was targeting black men like Jack Johnson for being with white women. So they came up with the Mann Act, which is actually called the White Slave Trafficking Act. It was about black men laying up with white women. That's why the only people they hit with the Mann Act, for the most part, are black men. They got R. Kelly with the Mann Act. And basically,
So
even if the sex is consensual, they can randomly pick and choose how they're going to enforce it. So that's not a crime. If somebody flies out, if a stripper flies out and you have sex with somebody and they're a stripper and they fly out, now that's illegal.
So I'm not gonna refute what you just said because I don't know like if that's a law, so I'm just gonna accept that it is.
Okay.
What I'm gonna say though is that I don't think that that law is in place um, to like to be racist. I think that that law is probably in place because like the people that would benefit from that law probably just want as many laws like that and like things like that that are like vague so that they can like target people that they want to target. So like Trump, for example,
They
like
named
he's being targeted right now for some like real estate thing.
Hold on, hold on. If the law wasn't racist, why would the name of the law, and the original, you can look this up, the original name of the law is the White Slave Trafficking Act. So why would they racialize the law? The law is racialized in its inception, ma'am. You can look,
No, that part I totally agree with you that it was like when it was created, it was like probably totally created with the most racist intent possible.
absolutely.
Like it sounds horrific, like white, like you can't be like a white person and talking to a black person like going across states like that. That's racist, yeah. But
Thing
the
is, and here's
people, oh sorry, go ahead.
my thing, because if you're going to get Diddy for trafficking, why didn't you get Hugh Hefner for trafficking? And he would do the same thing. He would have orgies and sex parties at his Playboy mansion. It was infamous for that. And they would fly people in to do all of these sex parties. How come that's not sex trafficking?
Exactly. So, it was sex trafficking what Hugh Hefner was doing. Probably. I'm telling you, I've like am very vague on what I know. But you're probably right. What Hugh Hefner was doing was probably tantamount to what Diddy was doing. But the thing is that Diddy probably upset some people higher up. And what they did was use this law that in its inception was racist, and they looked at it and said, like they probably don't care about race at all, but they probably were just like, well, we can take advantage of this thing simply because it exists
That
and
means
they can get Diddy on it.
that means
Now with Hugh Hefner,
Hold on, that means they care about race then. If they're going to pick and choose who they're going to enforce this law against, and it always happens to be black entertainers, they're not using the Mann Act for white entertainers, and they do this stuff all the time. There's swinger parties all over the place where white people have. You got white people who have nude beaches and they do everything. You don't hit them with the Mann Act. This Mann Act only happens to black people. So yeah, it's being enforced racially, ma'am.
you're absolutely correct.
Right.
But that's why, like, if Hugh Hefner had done something to upset like the same people that whoever Diddy upset, in my opinion, I feel like there would have been some other random law, but just like that only applied to Hugh Hefner, like something that he did, but like that wouldn't apply to Diddy, but would apply to Hugh Hefner. But they would exploit that. So they would like let's say there's a law like let's say Hugh Hefner, I don't know his history, but let's say he's like a Swedish immigrant or something. So they find like a law that's like against Swedish immigrants like traveling across states with like white ladies who are American. They would just exploit it just because it's there.
Or,
And you
or
wouldn't
is,
say like
yeah, but that's a lot of splaining. When something is that convoluted, I take the simpler route. See, when
I think that also like I'm just it's hard for me to like explain stuff sometimes, but
Maybe it's just white supremacy. Maybe it's just that.
Well, I think that because it happened.
Sometimes it's just white supremacy. It ain't even that complicated. See, when you try to explain and, oh, well, if you happen to talk to some people that he didn't like and they didn't like him, and maybe if they put the law, it's a lot of splaining. Maybe it's just racism. Maybe it's just that simple, right? Maybe it's just that simple. And in turn, Eternal, you are a Caucasian woman, right?
Well, can I just first say one thing?
But you are a Caucasian woman, right?
Can I just first say one thing before I answer that? Because I know that that answer is gonna shift perception, and I really
I
just
don't-
want to say
we
one thing.
already know you're Caucasian, so it's not going to shift anything. We already
It,
know.
it will, it will, it will. Trust me. If I confirm or deny that, it will shift perception.
Just the
So
fact that you're not even answering, that confirms it. We already know that you're a white woman. That's okay.
so
We already
I just want to say one thing.
go ahead, ma'am.
So I would agree with you about it being racist if it weren't for the fact that you were only focusing on this one specific law. I think that the broader concept is going after these high profile people that have kind of gotten into trouble, but been being manipulated by higher power. So we're talking um, Jeffrey Epstein. We're talking.
Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein, two totally different things. Jeffrey Epstein had underage children and taking them to a certain island. That was totally different. Totally different. Diddy wasn't doing that. They keep trying to make these Epstein comparisons with Diddy. Totally different things. But anyway, thank you so much, dear.
So
Is she splaining? I don't really want to hear all that splaining. I don't want to hear all that white splaining. She's male splaining. She's splaining her ass off. I don't think it's about race. I'm thinking it's about the Constitution and, certain people, some of the higher ups in the Illuminati. I think it's not about race, it's about reptilian humanoids. Ugh, the splaining. I don't want to hear all that splaining. The denial of racism, boy, when they folks be just doing all types of twists and turns to deny racism. And some black folks, some of y'all be going along with this horse crap. I ain't one of these black folks to go along with that. When I see racism, I see racism. I ain't gonna sit here and delude myself into believing anything else. What's happening with Diddy is racism. All right? You can dislike Diddy all you want, but what's happening, that's fine, but that's still racism. They're targeting him. That's on some racial stuff. Because you don't target everybody else, the white people who do all this stuff. And basically, his crime is just having sex parties. And then you're going to dig up the Mann Act. I don't co sign the Mann Act. I've always spoken out against the Mann Act because they always dust it off on black people. They've always used that on high profile black people. I am not with that. Sorry, I ain't with it. Law, hop in, man.
Hey, Tariq,
I
can you
can hear
hear
you.
me?
What's up, brother?
Nothing much, man. Thank you for letting me up. I am an FBA or ADOS. I'm from Arkansas, but I live in Chicago for over 10 years
Okay.
now. I was watching the Breakfast Club. I did watch the vice president debate, but I was watching the Breakfast Club before I jumped on here. Did you know that Congressional Byron Donalds uh, which I didn't know his background. He's a tether, but he's not for reparations, and his reason it is because oh, majority of black people are not. It's not enough of us descended from slavery, which there you said that there are about 40 million FBAs versus maybe a million or so
Right.
immigrants. So I mean, these damn tethers, you try to listen and give them, just hear them out. They sound great, but man, they are not on call with us,
Oh,
Tariq.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Man, yeah. Look, man, these folks are celebrating when we don't get stuff, dude. Let's be real. When people talk all that weird divisive, Man, I want you to look at some of these Tethers pages when we are going to these reparations task force meetings or whatever, and we're getting a lot of pushback. I'm telling you, the Tether class, they be over here celebrating, man. They be celebrating their asses off. They do not want us to get anything after all we've done to help them. See, that's the thing. And not only that, notice all the criticism we get just for delineating. Just because we're saying, hey, you know what, we want to kind of focus on our lineage. And notice all the pushback. Oh, that's divisive. You ain't no foundational Black American. You is African. This whole thing about making us generic Africans. No, we are not generic damn Africans. We have been over here on this land for centuries. We've had an ethnogenesis just like everybody else who came out of Africa. Everybody came out of Africa at one point, and they've all had ethnogenesis, and we have too. We are a brand new ethnic group. We're a different nation. We have different cultures, customs, um, inventions. We had a spiritual ethnogenesis. Our spirit is different. And when we acknowledge that, it rubs people the wrong way. A lot of the tether class, why does it rub them the wrong way? Why do they get so butthurt when we acknowledge our foundational Black American lineage? That's because, family, when we do that, that means they are on their own. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the thing that they fear. They are on their own when we start acknowledging our stuff and we say, we're going to take our ball over here and we're going to play on our court for a minute since you guys are running around bragging about how, you so smart and you got things popping. Okay, well, go ahead and get it popping. And the fact that we're letting them do things on their own, they're like, oh, wait, hold on now. Wait a minute. We don't want that to happen. Now we need to tether on to you. And that's for two reasons. So all of our wins, they can bask in those. Anything we accomplish, they can be first in line to get it, which is what they do. Anytime we get something going on, the tethers are going to be the first in line. Affirmative action, they're going to be first in line to get that. Something we fought for, they're going to be first in line. If we get a bill or any kind of minority program set aside, they're going to be first in line. You understand? Anything we got going on, they're going to be first in line under Black, minority, people of color. This is why when we, foundational Black Americans, try to get any of these people of color programs, there ain't nothing left. We get the crumbs because these folks sit up there and get first dibs on anything we done sat here and got beat down for to fight over. You see? Now, when they get something, it's hands off. We better not even think about coming near it. When they get something, if they get any kind of win or whatever, we better not even think about coming near it. And another thing, too, when it's something negative, they get to dump their trash on us. That's another thing. So all of their riffraffs for the last 5 decades, we've been absorbing that. So if some tether comes around and starts committing crime and robs a bank, that's just a Black person robbing a bank. What's wrong with Black people? Then it's a whole thing with us. We become pathologized with this stuff. Now that we're saying, you know what? No, 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 no. The dude who robbed that bank, his hairline looks a little funny. Let's look at his name. Where is he from? Oh, he ain't one of us. Oh, they don't like that. Because now you can't dump your trash on us no more. See, that's what they really don't like. We're not letting you dump trash on us. So whenever we see these weird crimes, especially coming out of New York, we're looking at the hairline and the last name. Well, oops, that ain't us. You better handle your business. That's not us. Let me get my brother Grinds TV building. Grinds TV. Grinds TV. Then we get Sassy Lady in here.
What's up, brother Tariq?
Hey, how you doing, Brother Grant?
Pretty good in yourself.
I'm good, man. How are you, sir?
All right. I wanted to share a couple of things. One, this whole thing with Diddy. These are really desperate attempts, especially when I found out the stuff that they're trying to push about the 120 people, and then now the 9-year-old or whatever. I'm like, nah, they're real desperate because a lot of us are on code, and a lot of us see the play and know the history of how they always target, our celebrities or our prominent people, as opposed to targeting people that have been notorious for doing it in a dominant society. When it comes to and I noticed something like people when it comes to people in our community, unfortunately, they would rather believe the bull instead of seeing it for what it is, especially when they find out. So, like for instance, when it came to Bill Cosby, it was
Yeah,
easy for people in our community to believe the BS because people felt some type of way about pound cake. When
right.
it came to Diddy, when you get all the stories about how he's done his artists and like they didn't really get a fair share of the deal or whatever, or especially with their publishing, and how some of them have gone to prison and some of them have passed. People felt some type of way, and especially after Kim Porter's passing and how he was like kind of sulking over her online, and people were like, "Nigga, you treated her like shit." So
Yeah,
it's like, it's easy for people to, it's like people want some type of pseudo justice for those situations instead of seeing it for what it is. Also, I wanted to comment on the issue of reparations because these Democratic shills on here love to bring up the receipts about how these Republican people, whether it's Byron Donalds or these other politicians, saying that they're against reparations, but they particularly do not talk about the receipts on how the Democrats have always been anti-reparations.
oh
I
yeah,
constantly show the receipts of how old man Bernie Sanders gave 3 different answers. One moment being saying it's divisive, he don't agree with it, but he's Jewish, so he has no pride. It's not divisive when it comes to his people getting it. Next moment saying it should be education, it's not feasible, and then all the other different answers he didn't gave. Kamala's response when a black reporter asked Joe Biden about it, he said, "I'll consider it only if Native Americans get considered," but they've already been getting some type of reparations or restitution. So you clearly see that they're playing games with us.
yes,
But also, if I can land with this right here, you talked about those laws in California, how they're trying to make it apply to certain situations. Um, they're always using laws to target our people, but when it comes to now, when the thing about surviving R. Kelly came out, of course, we started having conversations about these people in the dominant society that were not being targeted, and one of the names being brought up was Charlie Sheen.
yeah.
And you already know the announcement he made about what he has and all of the virus that he has, and then the conversation gets, okay, but what do we do about people like him disinfecting all these women he's laying with? And I want to say in late 2018, they changed the law in California to where if you infect anybody with the virus that he has, they switched that from being a felony to being a misdemeanor.
All
So,
right,
so you see how deliberate they are with that BS. But I land with that.
man. Thank you so much, man.
From New York Times bestselling author Tariq Nasheed comes Foundational Black American Race Baiter, the groundbreaking book shaking up the conversation on race in America. As one of the most influential voices for Black Americans today, Nasheed exposes the tactics used to manipulate, subjugate, and control Black communities. In this powerful read, Tariq Nasheed equips you with the knowledge to resist injustice and reclaim your narrative. Don't miss out on the book that's redefining the game. Foundational Black American Race Baiter, available now at officialfba.com. Get your copy today.